This storm is going to kick off February with a bang as it moves all the way from the west coast with an atmospheric river to the southeast with potential snow for some areas. Who could see snow as we make our way into the new month? In this video, I've got the details not just on the current pattern, but I've got a look further into February as well, as cold air and snowfall do look like they could dominate. Everything you need to know right here in this video. Thank you so much for joining me here on the channel. Please hit that subscribe button if you watch the rest of this video and enjoy it. But here we go. Let's get right into the content. Taking a look at WeatherBell maps, where we have a free trial for that in the description here. We're looking at precipitation type and rate with the European model as we make our way through this week. And as you can see, we've got a little clipper system diving on down into the Great Lakes region, especially there on into parts of the Midwest, as well as on into Michigan. So you can see parts of Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, including the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, getting in on some showers. Some of that will be falling as snow, maybe some moderate snow showers there in the parts of northeast Michigan especially. That could bring some quick accumulation through our Tuesday here, but this system is a very fast mover. It's going to be in and out of here. The precipitation's not going to be extremely heavy in most cases either. So as this sinks on down through the Ohio Valley through our late Tuesday evening and into our Wednesday, we're not going to see much come out of this. The jet stream is dipping down a little bit like so, and that is bringing a little bit of cooler air on down into eastern parts of the country, especially in comparison to average. But again, you can see this just brings some light rain into our Wednesday morning, maybe into the afternoon over parts of the Carolinas and Virginia. In terms of snowfall totals, this is not going to amount to much here. Upper Peninsula of Michigan, maybe an inch or two at best, but it's really going to be there in the northeastern glove of Michigan where we could, in some isolated spots, pick up close to 3 inches. I think that's going to be pretty much the height of this event. And then maybe down there into parts of the Appalachians and southeastern West Virginia, we could also just get a quick little flash there of some heavier snowfall as well. But again, not much snow accumulation out of this. Now, again, that low pressure system as we head towards middle of this week, Wednesday night going into our Thursday, heading on off the East Coast and strengthening as it does so, but again, that doesn't matter because it's not going to be onshore anymore. What will matter is this little atmospheric river event that's going to be bringing very heavy snow to the northern Sierra Nevada range there in California. Some heavy snow up into highest elevations of Washington and Oregon as well. But notice how this system really evolves. Wednesday going into our Thursday, we'll be watching a flood threat there along the immediate coastlines there of northwest California, say on up there along pretty much the entire west coast as well, just monitoring the potential for that heavy rain. Also got that snowfall that's going to hit the higher elevations. Then we've got interior northeast getting a very brief clipper system here as that colder air is still in place. Some parts of interior New England could pick up a very quick dusting to an inch of snow, but that's about the extent of that event as well. Maybe some higher spots, but again, very weak systems there. Our attention remains on the west as we go into our Friday afternoon. This is February 2nd now, with pretty hefty snowfall accumulation continuing there over parts of the Mountain West. Still some showers hitting the immediate Pacific Northwest coastline as well. Then we see this turn into a little bit more of a low pressure system. You can see that southerly push bringing some showers and storms maybe on up there into parts of Texas, Oklahoma, dragging on up there through the rest of the plains as well. Snow still wrapping back around, so a couple of days, maybe even 3 days of some pretty heavy mountain snowfall here. And it really picks on up there into parts of Montana and Wyoming as we go into our Saturday. Meanwhile, showers and storms, could some of these be on the stronger side to severe side late Friday night into our Saturday down here over the south central United States and the southern plains? They could, but again, we're not really looking at a severe outbreak as it looks right now. But nonetheless, there's a lot of ridging up here in the Great Lakes region while this tries to take shape. So pretty much we're going to see most of this energy have to slide under that. So we see a little piece of lingering shower and snow shower activity there into parts of the northern plains as we make our way into our Monday of next week. But notice by the time we go to the end of this weekend, most of that heaviest precipitation is now making its way into the southeastern United States, sliding under that ridge. And look at how this spins around. This could bring a flooding risk to the southeast, but I'm also intrigued by this storm and the potential for it to bring maybe some snowfall. We'll talk about that a little bit later, so skip ahead to around, say, I think about 7 minutes into this video, and then we'll continue to have more storms hitting the west as well while that is ongoing. So let's take a look at how this whole thing pans on out. So as we make our way into our Friday afternoon, again, this is as we're seeing this really begin to shape on up over the plains, wrap around snowfall going on into the Mountain West. High pressure, that's indicated by those deep reds there over the Great Lakes, and by coincidence, this is a very warm high pressure system, so those reds very fitting there. Warmer than average over pretty much all of the northern half of the country here. The greens there indicating this low pressure system. Now, green is a pretty, moderate to a strong low pressure system that's going to be making its way through the southern plains as we go into our Saturday. Notice how that continues evolving as it moves southeastward, sliding under that ridging. Notice how that ridging just redevelops, so it's not going to allow much to really just cross the entire country here as a big storm system. That's why this kind of gets into an elongated system, then has to form that new low that's going to drag there along the Gulf Coast corridor. So I just figured it'd be a little interesting to kind of show you how this is actually evolving, and you can see how that low pressure stations off the southeast coast. Could that mean, with a couple of different low pressure centers, that we have an extended event of some rain that could maybe turn over to some snow? Yes. The snow signal not quite as big as it initially was. I think the snow signal remains the highest as we head towards mid to late February, and we'll also touch on that in a minute. But your forecast precipitation all the way through our February 6th, you can see some spots there on the California coastline especially picking up close to, say, 4 to 6 inches of rainfall through that point. Again, this is mainly with this late week atmospheric river, so we're worried about the flood threat there, even on down there towards places like Los Angeles and San Diego. Also notice, though, heavier totals there in the south central into the southeastern United States, especially along the Gulf Coast, where a couple inches look possible, if not likely already at this point. And then your forecast snowfall to February 6th using the Euro. Again, the image on the right here showing, look at all that precipitation and that snowfall precipitation, not just hitting the Sierra Nevada range, but, anywhere in the pink spheres where you're looking at pretty much a foot plus of snowfall, and that hits a lot of the high elevations of Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and on down there into the Four Corners region as well, especially there in the parts of Colorado. Now again, are we going to see any snowfall out of this as we head into the eastern parts of the country? Couldn't rule it out. So you can see how this is the GEFS. This is some ensembles here, pretty much showing us a collection of GFS runs, giving us a look at what could happen using those averages. And again, this is nothing is set in stone with any forecast that I ever show, but especially with this, as this kind of begins to develop, notice we see a little snow try to break out there over northern Georgia, parts of western Carolinas as well, even on down there towards the Myrtle Beach area of South Carolina. It shows a little bit of snowfall breaking out there on the ensembles. And again, this is just a signal. This is not, a set-in-stone situation here. But nonetheless, you can see that the trend that we saw yesterday on the ensemble is still holding true a little bit there, especially over Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and into Virginia, with the potential for some light to moderate snowfall trying to break on out and wrap around the system. And again, with this being a collection of models, it's going to show a little bit more in the way of a northerly shift as well. Could we see a little bit of snow in southern New England out of this as we head? Again, this is, by the way, early next week, say Monday, February 5th time frame, and through Wednesday, February 7th, could we see a little bit of light snowfall up there into southern New England as well? Yes, but again, we're looking at ensembles. This is a collection of models and some averages. This is not gospel, okay? Temperature anomaly with the European model here. This is showing you pretty much what's blocking this from being a huge cross-country storm system here. As we go into Wednesday, as that atmospheric river is starting there in the west, we've got temperatures 20, 30, even 40 degrees above normal here over Montana, all the way on down there into the north central plains as well. You can see we continue through Thursday, and these temperatures are just well above average. Now, you notice those cooler than average temperatures hitting California. That is courtesy of that system and the rain showers that will be hitting the coastline there as a result of that. But again, high pressure just in control over southern Canada here and not really budging much. And this looks to be pretty much in control of the pattern for an extended period of time as that warmth just continues sitting around. And again, this is not heat. This is just much warmer than average temperatures, and this continues even as we head our way towards our Sunday. You can see there's a little low-pressure area, again, keeping the cool air there, and brings it into the mountain west behind that atmospheric river. And then also notice we get a little cooler than average into our Sunday and Monday of next week in the southeast. And again, that's courtesy of that same system as it slides under the ridge. And the 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook from the Climate Prediction Center pretty much shows this perfectly. Cooler than average along the west as atmospheric rivers continue. A little cooler than average there in the southeast. But the biggest temperature anomaly is up there in the north central United States, and pretty much we've been seeing maroon shades all over Minnesota, Wisconsin, the north central for the last several of these 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlooks because this ridging has been lasting around so long. So let's see when that's going to end here with the mid-level pattern, because once we get something to penetrate that, that's when I think we get the better chances for first a big winter storm to move through and then maybe some new shots of snow after that. Mid-level pattern with these EPS ensembles, again, collection of models, not gospel here, as we make our way towards February 8th, showing, a lot of energy hitting the west coast, okay? And that continues and then eventually starts sliding east into the plains sometime around the 9th, 10th, 11th. It looks like it's going to kind of weaken that ridging to the east and be able to penetrate it. And I think sometime around the 11th or 12th of February, there's a good chance that we have some sort of stronger storm system kind of heading eastward, and if not then, forming by, say, the 13th or the 14th. So I know I just listed a lot of dates. Probably sometime between the 11th and the 15th, we see some sort of bigger storm system penetrate the ridge and then heads northeastward. And then into the days after that, we could see some very cool air spill on in over a lot of the country as low pressure is kind of over that region. Here we go towards, say, Thursday, February 22nd. And again, cooler than average air trying to penetrate a lot of the country because, again, once that ridge is forced all the way north into Canada, this just lingers around. We're all the way into early March here at this point. And again, very far-fetched, but it still shows cooler than average hints there with a collection of several different models here. So it's worth watching. I think our best chance for a bigger and more long-lasting snowy pattern, though, is, of course, coming in towards the mid to back half of February here. So that's it for this video. Please hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed it. Leave any questions down below. I read all your comments, so feel free to leave me one. I don't care if you have negative feedback, drop it there. I'll respond to pretty much all the comments there. And free trial of weather bells in the description. Everything I've already said. Have a great day, everyone.